Listen!
Welcome everyone, this is Andre's Restart, and there's so much news coming out today. This will be the second video for today, and what we're going to be talking about is this apparent headline that's going around that Nintendo Switch 2 has been deconfirmed for 2023. Is this really the case? Is there nothing to look forward to for the rest of this year? Those are two different questions, just for the record, to avoid confusion here. But before we move forward, let me remind you that we are aiming to hit 25,000 subscribers by the time Tears of the Kingdom comes out on May 12th. We are so close, they're just a couple days away, so if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if for whatever reason by the time you're watching this, we've already surpassed that goal, perhaps consider joining anyway, because we do talk about daily Nintendo news and theories. So Nintendo's earnings reports have come out today, and there's a lot of information to dissect from this. But a few different publications came out with some information centered around this. And from these different publications, I think some outlets are putting out a headline that seemed to suggest that it's coming straight from Nintendo, and it isn't necessarily, so there may be some conflation here, but there's still some interesting question marks about what may actually be going on. So Nikkei, a Japanese publication, has outlined how Switch sales have been declining year over year. In its peak year, ending through March 2021, it was at 28.8 million systems sold. But through March of 2022, it went down to 23. And now for the end of this fiscal year, we are down to 18. There is a clear decline here. Nintendo's reporting a drop in net profits for the year as well. There's no longer masquerading the fact that the Switch is on a downward trend. Now that isn't to say that they aren't doing well, but it's more of the fact that things are reaching a saturation point. It has been reported that Switch has now exceeded 125 million systems sold, and in terms of software, this is perhaps even more amazing, over 1 billion games have been sold for Nintendo Switch. This is just straight up incredible news. The fact that they are still pushing this level of momentum this late into the cycle is a great thing. So while we are talking about a decline, it's a decline that's still pretty good, just not as good. Nikkei even quoted President Shuntaro Furukawa when he said, "Given that recent year-on-year sales have been declining by more than 20%, the target of 15 million units is a bit of a stretch." And at the end of Nikkei's report, they mentioned this. To offset the Switch's decline and get back on the growth track, many are calling on the company to introduce a new console. One is rumored to be due out next year. Development seems to be progressing well. A source close to Nintendo told Nikkei Asia, but a product launch won't happen before next spring at the earliest. So this is where some conflation may be happening, because people are seeing this and people are saying, oh, Nintendo has said that Nintendo Switch 2 is not coming this year. And maybe it's not coming this year. This is coming from Nikkei, and their sources are saying that it's not coming this year, it's next spring at the earliest. But the point is this is still technically a rumor. Let's remind ourselves that not too long ago there were a number of publications telling us that Switch Pro was imminent, and what we got was Switch OLED. So I'm simply saying that to illustrate that sometimes, even when it comes from credible places, there can be some things lost in translation, timing can be changed, so take it with a grain of salt. But there's more to talk about here. In Bloomberg's article on this recent news, they quoted Furukawa and he said, "Sustaining the Switch's sales momentum will be difficult in its 7th year. Our goal is selling 15 million units this fiscal year is a bit of a stretch, but we will do our best to bolster demand going into the holiday season so that we can achieve the goal." So this line is very interesting. So fiscal year ending in 2021, 28 million, fiscal year ending in 2022, 23 million, fiscal year ending in 2023, 18 million, and now they're estimating 15 for fiscal year ending in March of 2024. That is a lot of years of steady decline, and compared to prior generations, Nintendo would have announced the next generation system already. Like, this is insane that we've gone this long with a downward trend and not anything being announced, I would argue. But the good thing is that because Switch has had such a high, even in its declining years, 15 million a year is still really impressive, so that's probably why, because even though compared to prior generations, Nintendo would have announced something a lot sooner due to that decline, but because things are so strong now, even with these steady declines, they're still holding up pretty well. But something else that was said here is that Furukawa added that no new or upgraded hardware is factored into Nintendo's annual forecast. He previously described the 2022 holiday season as disappointing, telling analysts that sales were affected by the sluggish global post-COVID reopening and the economic malaise brought about by the inflationary pressure. I have a few takeaways from this part as well. I think they're coming with reasons to explain why things are going on, but ultimately, maybe I'm wrong on this, but it sounds like excuses. It sounds like really the reason is that, hey, next generation systems are out there, PS5, Xbox Series, they're picking up momentum, Switch has been out for such a long time already. There is a saturation point. Most people who want a Switch have one already, and the people that are buying Switches are ones that want the OLED Switches. They want a special edition, a new version, and we are approaching that time for a new Switch. Of course, Nikkei is putting out information suggesting that it's not happening until next year. This is actually interesting because they're actually double downing what they said a while back. But another thing to consider about what's being said here is that President Shuntaro Furukawa added that no new or upgraded hardware is factored into their annual forecast of 15 million. So, I'm sure some people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but I'm just calling it how I see it. This phrasing here suggests that they're leaving it open for potentially some level of a hardware announcement that could boost sales that aren't factored into the 15 million. So when you think about this steady decline they've seen year over year, maybe they don't want to have another decline and just sell 15 million. Maybe they will just sell 15 million Switches, but maybe they have something else coming, potentially Switch 2, or something else altogether that could help to bolster sales here. But let's just say the rumor's true, there won't be a Switch 2 this year, Nintendo's going to accept that they're going to have a third year in a row of decline and still not have a system ready. If it comes next year, I'm sure they can turn things around. But that still leaves the second half of this year for something to come. And Nintendo did say they're going to do their best to bolster demand. How will they bolster demand? Perhaps they'll finally do a price drop, and if they do a price drop, as I said in the past, I think that is indicative that they are winding down the generation and setting things up so they can bring in a higher price model that's perhaps a next-gen Switch, like a Switch 2. So we may see that before they announce the next system. But something else that could happen is that there may still be some quality games that come out in the second half. I think that's pretty likely. The question is really just what? We've discussed that Metroid Prime 4 could be pretty much done, and that could be Nintendo's big sort of killer app title for the end of this year. Obviously, they're still going to be enjoying Tears of the Kingdom sales. A lot of people will be waiting for the holidays to buy Tears of the Kingdom, so that's going to help as well. There'll be some Pokemon DLC. Maybe Nintendo's going to squeeze in some type of Mario spin-off or 2D Mario to take advantage of the movie. These things could help to push the system. It's not going to completely reverse the trajectory of the system because, hey, they came out with an open-world Pokemon game and Splatoon 3 last year's holiday, and yet we are still seeing this steady decline. So they're going to need something else to hit the 15 million. Maybe Metroid Prime 4 is going to really pop off. We shall see. But anyways, everyone, those are my immediate thoughts on the recent information. No, I don't think Nintendo Switch 2 has been deconfirmed for 2023. Nintendo did not say that. That's being conflated or confused with the different headlines. There is a rumor from a legitimate publication, Nikkei, that is suggesting so. So we should definitely consider that, but we still don't know what's going to happen. We still don't know what is the plan for the second half. But that's all for now, everyone. This is Andres Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care.